Thornbridge Manor, the Carlyle family's home for countless generations. The Revenant Alexa Carlyle and her 3 adult children, younger brother Zachary, grandson and daughter-in-law, are all gathered to conduct Carlyle's sham funeral. Curiously, Carlyle summoned a famous London PI soon after arriving this morning, but his purpose at Thornbridge is yet unclear. Now, the target knows that you're coming, and her guard detail is top-notch. So Mr. Gray will secure their nearby field HQ and intercept all calls going in and out of the estate. Any appeal for backup is going to fall on very deaf ears. Good luck, gentlemen.
This is a private area, sir.
Phineas Whitmer, private investigator. I have an appointment with Madame Carlyle. Please wait.
Mr. Whitmer is here to see Madame Carlyle. You can go right in.
That is Phineas Whitmer, the famous private investigator hired by Madame Carlyle this morning. I'm curious why he's here. Maybe you should do some detecting yourself, 47. A famous private investigator
Mr. Whitmer, thank God you're here. Can I take you to Madame Carlyle?
Please do.
If you'd follow me. I know I oughtn't say anything, but I'm so relieved you're here. Everything's just so strange. Preparing for Madame's funeral, and then she turns up alive. But then the awful business with her brother Zachary, and all this security. I've never seen the place guarded like this, and I dare say I don't like it at all.
Oh, by the way, I told Kate about those texts.
What did she say?
Well, I thought she'd be mad at me, but she just thanked me. Said she understood the position I was in. We had a really good talk about it, actually.
Oh, what did I tell you? She's a sensible woman. And that stuff from your ex was like manipulation 101.
I know. I guess I thought she was gonna read into them and freak out. Say I must have done something to provoke her.
Shit, man. Caroline really did a number on you.
Mary is so upset. She's never seen a dead body before.
Life can be tough sometimes.
And that detective asked to come here. Madame Carlyle must believe Zachary was murdered. Why else ask him to snoop around? Oh, I feel weak in my knees from all the tension here.
And we'll all need a vacation when this is over.
I've some notable hiccups along the way. What are your thoughts?
Oh,
I mean, such a fan.
Come on.
It's
kind of like I haven't been here before.
But I just can't withstand the outrage. If anything, I think I find the whole affair.
He turns it back off, and we're out.
bad news, I'm afraid. We don't have any extra fuses. Ethel looked everywhere.
No power.
I guess we could do that.
Good. I'll finish setting up, and then we'll grab the fuse just before you call down the family.
Good. Yeah, that's a good plan.
So many on call for a pretend funeral. These are extraordinary times.
If they find out how efficient you can be, they'll let half of us go. Don't work too hard.
This isn't safe.
Oh! I don't believe for a second that Zachary committed suicide. We'd only just run through his plan for the spring seedlings yesterday.
Yes, sure. But he was upset believing his sister was dead.
I'd say worried about how things would be handled with Gregory and Emma taking over. I said they let him stay here, but Ethel was sure Emma would throw him out first chance.
Huh?
Hey, that's not funny. Someone could get hurt. Well, nothing, I guess.
I'd say worried about how things would be handled with Gregory and Emma.
Talk about messed up,
Hard, aren't you?
Us.
Everything needs to be ready for the funeral. It needs to look good for the family portrait. But feel that pressure too.
That would mean... Nah, too early to conclude.
Stand up, please. Hey, she's single for that, right? Maybe I should ask her out. Get to know her in a personal way.
Right. Rosie told me Rebecca has a really cool...
You strike me as independent and self-sufficient. Taking a break where the family might see you.
So you've got your work cut out for
Perhaps
you.
you're also perceptive. Tell me the first odd thing that comes to mind when you think of the last 24 hours.
Let me think.
First thing, don't think.
Okay. Well, I'm sure I left 20 quid in my locker, but when I came in this morning, it was only a $5.
Nope, not perceptive at all. Muddy prints from high heels. Expensive. Size 6.
If you're dressed like a Detective 47, you might as well act the detective. I suggest you go talk to the butler.
Mr. Whitmer, are you ready to inspect the crime scene now?
I am.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
How are you today, sir?
I feel obliged to point out that current affairs surrounding Madame Carlyle are of a delicate nature. You may be familiar with the recent announcement of her death. You will probably learn that the staged funeral is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madame's children were not informed until this morning that their mother was in fact not dead at all. So please bear with them if they seem affected by the rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlyle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Before you inspect the crime scene, I will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlyle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside, and a suicide letter was found in his room. However, Madame Carlyle suspects foul play and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room, to my right.
A locked room murder mystery, 47. I trust you'll get to the bottom of this. Why don't you use your camera to scan the dead body, 47?
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant poison killed him. Spread shows time of death at around 10 o'clock last night.
You do know your poisons, 47.
A hidden door.
It's a secret passage. This could explain how the door was locked from the inside. You've likely not exhausted the room for clues, 47. Photocopy of the floor plans. Somebody's been researching the secret ins and outs of Thornbridge Manor. Zachary was shopping for new Wellingtons last night. Not exactly what you would expect from someone suicidal. Zachary's suicide note. Also, a sample of handwriting. It could be relevant to compare to other samples to establish its authenticity. I believe you've done a thorough search of the crime scene, 47. Maybe it's time to see the butler. I'm curious about the information he's prepared for you.
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
Well, that means the staff were off duty. And Madame Carlyle and her security didn't arrive until this morning. That leaves Madame's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone
just
in my
remembered
office
I went for a stroll
at the
behind
time
the
of death.
greenhouse last
Here's the
night.
material that I
Maybe
prepared
that's where
for
it
you.
is.
What is?
It's a list
My
of the
lost
possible
button.
suspects and their
One you couldn't
quarters.
find at the graveyard.
Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see
Now?
me
I've
when
got
you've
an
solved the case.
Yeah.
And I will take you to Madame Carlyle.
This is very useful information, 47. So how does one solve a murder mystery, 47? Motive, means, and opportunity. I
Patrick
believe.
Carlyle.
May I
Can you tell
suggest
me
you ask
where
the
you were
suspects for
yesterday
alibis?
evening?
Or perhaps you prefer searching the manor for
Sneaky
clues
bastard,
first?
isn't he? He ratted me out. Elaine, give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow death by boredom.
What did you think of Zachary?
Creepy as hell. No ambition. Imagine deciding to live in a museum. You know, Father says Zachary and Alexia used to be two of a kind. He had a great future ahead of him. Then suddenly, he just gave up everything. What an idiot. Thank God Daddy chose looks and brains over pedigree when he married Mummy. I don't have to worry about the inbreeding so customary in these circles. So, is that it?
Did you see anything suspicious last night?
No. I reckon Zachary topped himself. I know I would have. Or perhaps Mr. Fernsby. I don't like him. He could have done it.
Listen, Gregory.
Gregory Carlyle. Can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Anything else you want to pry from my intricate intellect?
Emma Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Is that all?
Professor Edward Carlyle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'd never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. If that's all, I have a... Each to write?
I need to stop thinking about Emma all the time, but she just makes me so angry.
Tell me.
She scolded Mary for not making the bed the way she prefers it. It's so unfair. She just discovered Zachary's dead body and was all shook up. I tried to
Rosie, tell me what you did last night.
I'm in trouble, aren't I?
Things will change around
I
here.
I spent the evening with Patrick.
Patrick is just as bad.
We met after dinner and I went home at 1 in the morning. He said he needed someone real to talk to. When he looks at you, it makes you feel like the center of the universe. Like a real princess.
But now he just ignored. Was her.
Well, he's under a lot of pressure.
He's an idiot. That's what he is.
But he was such a gentleman.
That is the door to Mr. Fernsby's office.
Rosie, you need to forget.
Painkillers. Lethal if you use enough of them.
But not the poison used to kill Zachary. Of course, Madame Carlyle doesn't know that. Are you considering to frame the butler, 47? Zachary's diary. This is big. He was about to confess to the world that he and Alexa murdered their older brother Montgomery 46 years ago. And apparently, Mr. Fernsby helped make the murder look like an accident. And 47, the handwriting doesn't match the suicide letter in his room, proving he didn't write it himself. Mr. Fernsby clearly didn't commit the murder, but I think you have enough evidence to convince Madame Carlyle he did. Maybe you should tell him you are ready to present your findings.
Rebecca Carlyle, can you tell me about yesterday evening?
We don't really see much of each other, my brothers and I. I suppose it takes our mother's funeral to bring us together, and even then, it's not like we sit on each other's laps. Now, let's see. Patrick, Gregory's son, disappeared straight after dinner. You know, I think he might be in some sort of trouble. Edward wanted to go as well, but Gregory convinced him to stay for a few drinks before they went off for a pint at the local at 9:15. I swear Gregory enjoys Edward's discomfort over staying here. I had a conference call with my New York office at 9, so I spent 3 hours on my laptop in my room and went straight to bed afterwards. I don't know about Emma. She did act a bit strange. You know, I bet she was making lists for changes needing to be done once she gets her hands on Thornbridge Manor. Quite the shock she had when Mother arrived during breakfast. Is there anything else you want to ask me?
Patrick talking to Madame Carlyle's daughter.
Rebecca? Yes. She's insistent, that one. She kept asking all kinds of questions. Who had the other one? Why I gave it to her, that sort of thing. You did make sure she didn't see you give the other one to the butler?
Of course.
Take Emma.
But why don't we get any kind of explanation? It's unruly. That's what it is.
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlyle.
Good today,
Very
sir.
well. If you'll follow me, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
This is Madame Carlyle's office. Please step inside.
Your detective skills have gained you access to the Lion's Den. 47. Now, go claim your reward.
So, Mr. Whitmer, you've reached a conclusion. Take a seat. Please, go ahead.
The butler, Mr. Fernsby, killed Zachary.
Fernsby? Oh, you've got that wrong. He would never do such a thing. He is the most loyal man I have ever met.
I found pills in his office that matches the poison that killed your brother. Furthermore, I found Zachary's notebook, half burned, in Mr. Fernsby's fireplace. It showed that Zachary intended to publish a written confession to a murder the two of you committed nearly 50 years ago. The murder of your older brother, Montgomery.
That's outrageous. We did no such thing.
No need to feign innocence. I know a killer when I see one, and my discretion is assured. The papers also described how Mr. Fernsby helped you stage the murder of Montgomery as an accident. I believe he killed Zachary not to be exposed as an accomplice to murder.
Sweet Fernsby. You are wrong, Mr. Whitmer. He did not do it to protect himself. He did it to protect the Carlyle legacy. Mr. Fernsby, like myself, understands that sacrifices must be made to secure stability and prosperity. Mr. Whitmer, I'd appreciate it if your findings never leave this room. I understand Fernsby's actions, and there is no need for them to have more consequences than they already have. Fernsby was very fond of Zachary, and I'm sure his decision will haunt him to the day he dies. About your reward, have you considered an amount?
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Arthur Edwards, the Constant. But that must mean you're... I expected you'd show up. But you're not here to kill me. If you were, you would have already. The enemy of my enemy, I suppose. You can have it. You earned it. file you want is in the safe. Good hunting. The file you want is in the safe.
Good work. 47. That's the file on Arthur Edwards secured. Time to take care of Madame Carlyle.
Greetings, sir.
Mission complete. Well done, 47.
I can't forget his eyes.
Hello there, sir.
Can't you just relax for a minute?
And that solicitor upstairs. Why do you think he's here?
I think solicitors are mother's favorite kind of thing.
Cut us from her will.
Imagine the scandal if the firstborn son didn't pick up the torch. That would never happen.
What?
Anyone copy? Someone had an accident. Looks bad. Yeah, command.
Don't respond, just listen. Diana can't help you now. You need to find Olivia. She will know what to do. I wish there had been more time.
And then there were none. Thank you, Miss Burnwood. Now, it's my turn.
Stay down. Boss wants you alive.
Yeah?
How about now? Over here! Cover me! Walk away! Or what? You gonna take us all on?
Don't.
Tell the Constant to start running!
You think you've won? 47 is out there. And 47 never misses his mark.
Neither do you, Miss Burnwood. That's what makes you valuable.
You're delusional. You think I would betray 47?
Trust me, you owe him nothing.
What is this?
I told you we could help each other, and I meant it. I'll look forward to your call.
Gray is gone. Go to Berlin and stay out of sight. We're all that's left now.